My name is Anton Valeska. I am not a billionaire. I am not a soldier. I am not a man who ever expected to stand on a stage like this. I'm not here to promise miracles or to parade around in uniforms and flags. I am here as a citizen, just like you. A survivor of the same winters, the same shortages, the same fear that we all lived through under Alexander Reznev's shadow. I did not come from power. I came from the edges of it, from the factories that shut down, the apartments that went cold, the neighborhoods that stopped dreaming. And I say this not to win your sympathy, but to show you, I know what was taken from us. I know how it feels to be afraid of your own country, to be told to stay quiet, to be watched. I know how it feels to be forgotten. But not tonight. Tonight, we remember who we are. For decades, we were told that strength came from above, that safety was found in obedience, that unity meant silence. But you and I both know what Reznev's unity cost us. He ruled not through loyalty, but through fear, through purges, through propaganda, through the murder of dissent and the death of truth. Before Reznev, Ostrakhan was already fragile. The collapse of the Soviet Union left us with broken institutions, uncertain borders, and a generation caught between memory and survival. We watched as our neighbors modernized, partnered, rose, and we were told to trust strong hands and iron walls. Reznev offered certainty, and for a time, many accepted it. But certainty without liberty is a prison. And slowly, cell by cell, the light went out. Our history is not just tragedy. It is persistence. It is adaptation. And it is time for that spirit to write a new chapter. When I say the Free Ostrakhan Accord believes in democracy, I don't mean the kind written in slogans and shouted through loudspeakers. I mean democracy born from real choice, from real risk, from real sacrifice. And many of you have already sacrificed more than most will ever understand. Families torn apart, friends disappeared, futures interrupted, and still, here we stand. Some of you may ask, why did I call for outside help? Why did I speak to foreign powers? I will answer you directly. Because we could not do it alone. We were outgunned, outnumbered, outmaneuvered. We needed a moment, just one, to strike back, to break the spell. And when the walls of the Red Manor finally fell, they did not fall for me. They fell for you. But let me be equally clear. My alliance with outside forces ends with Reznev. I will not let our future be purchased by foreign money or shaped by foreign interests. I am grateful for the support we received, but Ostrakhan must belong to its people again, not to the next strongman, not to the highest bidder, and not to those who see us as a failed state to be rebuilt in their image. There are others in this race who promise order, who offer jobs, security, and new infrastructure. And I know that sounds good. After everything we've been through, it sounds very good. But I ask you, at what cost? What do we lose when we sell our future to men who've never bled on this soil, never buried their neighbors, never carried the weight of this flag in their hearts? Major Viktor Semenov and the Liberty and Shield Group say they'll bring peace, but look closely. They bring weapons and contracts. Their reconstruction plan is paved with privatization, and behind their polished speeches are portfolios and investors who have never heard of Ostrakhan before last year. I do not question Semenov's experience in battle. I question his vision for peace. If we become a client state, efficient but hollow, then what exactly are we rebuilding? And ask yourself this: what loyalty does a man owe a land he has no roots in? What empathy can a foreign executive have for a mother in Kelyava trying to heat her apartment or a farmer outside Druzhenka trying to keep his land? You will get order, yes, but order without understanding, security without community, governance without memory. Then there is Imam Farid Jalouzi and the Southern Believers Congress. I do not question the pain the South has endured. I do not doubt the right of every community to be heard and respected, but the answer cannot be to fracture this country into zones of ideology. Jalouzi promises autonomy, but autonomy without unity becomes a slow surrender. We must protect the right to faith, but we must not legislate it. Ostregal must be a state for all its people, not a collection of rival beliefs. What begins as local governance could evolve into legal segregation, a state within a state. It is not division we need, it is dialogue. Not concessions brokered in secret, but a constitution written in public. Our differences must be heard, not hardened. And finally, to Dmitry Veklenko of the People's Restoration Front. I respect passion. I respect the fire that drives men to demand a better life for the working class. But comrades, we cannot afford to repeat history out of anger. General Reznev wrapped himself in red too. Revolution is a tool, not a destination. If we build new walls in the name of justice but forget liberty, then what have we truly changed? I hear his calls for worker-led councils, I hear the slogans, but we must not confuse slogans for systems. His vision for state control and nationalized infrastructure may sound righteous, but ask yourself how many times in our history has centralized power truly belonged to the people? How many of those leaders who claimed to serve the workers ended up silencing them? Democracy is not efficient. It is not quick. It is not clean. It is loud. It is frustrating. It is human, and that is why it matters. There will be setbacks, there will be disagreement, there will be days when you wonder if it's working, but there will also be pride. Pride in knowing that we are building something of our own. Not borrowed, not imposed, but born here, from us. We do not come with military contracts. We do not arrive with investor portfolios. What we offer is simple: honest government, transparent leadership, a constitution shaped by you, elections that mean something, institutions that answer to the people, not to party men or foreign stakeholders. We will focus on rebuilding our local councils, on creating a free press that cannot be silenced, on ensuring our judiciary is independent and respected. We will invest not just in roads and power grids, but in schools, clinics, and small businesses, in our people. We will guarantee the rights of every region and every group within Ostregal. We will not repeat the mistakes of our past, ignoring the South, marginalizing faith, or crushing opposition. This new republic must be one where every voice matters, where disagreement is not punished but heard, where power is never again allowed to concentrate unchecked. Some will call this naive. Some will say we are too weak, too fractured, too poor to do this on our own. And I say this: they underestimate the spirit of this country. I have seen that spirit in the factory workers who organized underground, in the students who risked prison to print the truth, in the families who sheltered strangers, in the veterans who turned away from tyranny. We are not broken. We are unburied. If we vote together, if we rise together, we can build something that no dictator can ever take away again. Not a perfect country, but a real one. One where your voice matters more than your fear. Let us not be the nation that traded one master for another. Let us be the nation that chose itself. Thank you, and may we never again forget the power of our own voice.
Brothers and sisters of Ostregal, I stand before you tonight not as a politician, nor as a general, but as a servant of the people, a servant of faith, of community, and of truth. I am Imam Farid Jalouzi, and I speak on behalf of those whose voices have been silenced for decades. I speak for the South. For the villages that endured blackouts not just of electricity, but of recognition. For the families who held tight to prayer rugs while tanks rolled by their windows. For the children who learned to read sacred scripture in the shadows because their language and their identity were outlawed by those who feared what they could not control. I listened closely to my brother Anton Valeska speak of unity, of liberty, of a shared national identity, and I commend his courage in facing down the tyrant Alexander Reznev. The Free Ostrogal Accord has lit a fire of democracy in this land, and for that we all owe them our gratitude. But if we are to light the way forward, we must be honest about where that path leads and whose feet will be allowed to walk it. You see, when Anton speaks of a republic for all, I ask, what does all truly mean in Ostrogal? Does it include the South, where the call to prayer is still met with suspicion? Does it include the farmers in Almagina who have never once been visited by a central delegate? Does it include the boys named Rashid and the girls named Layla, who are taught their names are foreign in their own land? For too long, unity has been code for uniformity, and that uniformity was designed by others who neither knew us nor cared to. Reznev's regime was brutal to many, but to us, it was systematic. Our identity was criminalized, our customs mocked, our beliefs surveilled. And though his manner has fallen, the architecture of that repression still stands. In our courts, in our hiring practices, in our representation. I say this not to divide us, but to dignify us. The Southern Believers Congress was not born in a boardroom, nor in a military camp. It was born in mosques, in market stalls, in whispered meetings at the backs of schools. It was born of necessity. We seek not domination, but dignity, not supremacy, but sovereignty, a legal framework that respects regional autonomy, while recognizing that faith and governance need not be enemies. We are not here to impose Sharia upon the unwilling. We are here to preserve our right to live by it in peace, to create space for traditional jurisprudence and moral guidance where it is desired by the community, to form courts and councils that align with the values of those they serve, not to override, but to coexist alongside a national legal code. Including Mr. Valeska, some have said that our plan will fracture the nation, that autonomy is a step toward division. But I ask you, what is more dangerous, the granting of choice or the denial of it? True unity is not the flattening of differences, it is the honoring of them. To Viktor Semyonov, yes, your soldiers have kept roads clear, and your money has kept the lights on in some places. But peace born from profit is peace that disappears when the price changes. You speak of national renewal, yet your contracts are written in another tongue. Your allegiances are pledged to those who view this land as an asset, not a home. You want to build security? Begin by securing the trust of the people, and that cannot be bought. To the People's Restoration Front and Comrade Viklenko, I say this. Your passion for the worker is admirable, but your blueprint for society echoes another age. We do not seek a return to centralized Red Star regimes. We remember too well what happens when the mosque is declared an enemy of the revolution. Your call for collectivism cannot drown out the call to prayer. There must be room for both bread and belief. And to those who hide behind the old flags, who chant Reznev's name in dark corners and sabotage our dialogue, I say to you, your time has passed. This country will not be ruled by nostalgia and bayonets. We will not trade one tyranny for another. The SBC will not govern for just one group. Though we rise from the south, we offer representation to every region that feels abandoned. We have proposed a model of confederated zones, each with the power to govern its cultural, religious, and educational systems. Not a balkanized state, but a truly representative federation. Our economic policy emphasizes small business growth, agrarian investment, and ethical trade with partners who respect our values, not those who demand we erase them. We will not sell our land to the highest bidder. We will not privatize our rivers or outsource our identity. We support women's rights, defined not by imported slogans, but by local voices and deliberation. We support youth programs that teach both scripture and science. We support justice that is swift but merciful, informed by tradition, but not blinded by it. This is not regression. This is reclamation. And yes, there are tears in our story. I remember a father in Daravne who walked 5 kilometers every day to bring his daughter to the only school that still taught in our dialect. I remember a mother who buried her son after he was mistaken for a militant because he carried a Quran in his pocket. I remember a child who asked if Allah had forgotten the South. I told her no, it is the state that forgot. Allah never did. These stories are not rare. They are routine. And they should shame us all. To every citizen in the center, the east, the hills beyond the capital, know that we do not want to separate from you. We want to walk beside you. But we will not do so chained to a version of Ostrogol that erases half its soul. We are not your threat. We are your reminder that there is more to this country than flags and contracts. There is heritage, there is humility, and yes, there is hope. When you cast your vote, remember this. The path forward does not have to choose between faith and freedom, between tradition and progress, between the South and the rest. It must honor them all. And if you entrust me with your voice, I vow not to speak over you, but to speak for you, to carry your concerns into every hall, to shape a constitution that hears the whispers from every minaret and chapel, from every farm and flat. Let this election not be the triumph of one ideology over another. Let it be the first time in our lifetimes that every part of Ostrogol can speak and be heard. Thank you. May peace be upon you and upon this land we all call home.
Citizens of Ostregal. You have heard promises. You have heard nostalgia wrapped in poetry, sermons wrapped in smoke, and revolution wrapped in fire. But tonight, I will speak to you not in fantasy, but in fact. This nation does not need slogans, it needs results. It does not need another round of poetic speeches. It needs electricity that runs, water that flows, streets that do not collapse under their own weight. A government that functions, not once every 5 years, but every single day. That is what I offer. The Liberty and Shield Group is not here to stir your hearts. We are here to fix your nation. I am not of Ostregal. I do not carry your surnames or your stories. But I have seen what many broken states become. I have fought inside of them. I have rebuilt them, and I know this. Sentiment does not patch roads. National identity does not stabilize markets. Flags do not provide clean drinking water. The Free Ostregal Accord offers democracy, But democracy without infrastructure is just noise. They ask you to believe in the virtue of foreign absence. But who do they turn to when the power goes out, when the mines collapse, when the hospitals run out of medicine? Their gratitude to foreign forces is temporary. Their capacity to govern without them is non-existent. The People's Restoration Front offers revolution, but revolution without discipline is just fire. Veklenko wants to nationalize everything, redistribute everything, disrupt everything. And what then? Have we not already lived this cycle? Have we not already seen what happens when industry becomes ideology and bureaucracy becomes dogma? Their vision is not a republic. It is a commune with no electricity, where every committee has a gavel and no one has a plan. And let us speak plainly now. Veklenko is not just misguided. He is dangerous. He stands on stage and dares to mock me as a warlord, while preaching the gospel of class war. He dares to speak of stolen revolutions while threatening to ignite another. Let me tell you what Dmitry Veklenko really offers you. A country paralyzed by its own committees, a sea of red flags flying over empty warehouses, children taught to chant slogans instead of solve problems. His revolution is not justice, it is vengeance dressed up as virtue. It is a sickness that wears the face of hope, and I will not let that sickness take root in this soil again. He claims Reznev betrayed socialism, and he is right, but not for the reasons he thinks. Reznev cloaked himself in red to mask his greed. Veklenko would do the same to mask his incompetence. One ruled by fear, the other would rule by confusion. Both would leave you cold, hungry, and forgotten. Veklenko is not your future, he is your best rot, repackaged. The Southern Believers Congress offers autonomy, but autonomy without cohesion is fragmentation. Jalousie cloaks political separatism in the veil of faith. He speaks of tradition, but it is not tradition, it is retreat. Retreat into the past, into tribes, into religion. His promises will lead to checkpoints between neighbors, to laws that change from village to village, to a state divided by borders and by doctrine. We will not allow this country to become a patchwork of theocracies and tribes. Within 3 months of assuming governance, the LSG will stabilize the currency, launch immediate capital injections for public infrastructure restoration, and partner with international institutions to secure additional financial infusions. We will ensure employment, not by handing out ideology, but by building. We will secure every border. We will reopen every closed factory. We will pay your doctors. We will train your next generation not in slogans, but in skills. And yes, eventually we will profit. That is the cost of resurrection. Some of you will ask, why should we allow a foreign entity to profit from our recovery? Let me ask you in return, when you invest in a small company, when you provide capital, leadership, and stability, do you not expect a return? And if that company thrives, grows, and becomes independent, is that not a shared success? That is what we offer. We will invest in Ostregal as one would invest in a promising enterprise, carefully, deliberately, and with the tools to ensure success. What is a small margin gained by our organization when measured against your safety, your prosperity, your dignity? We will take a share, but you will take back your lives. And let me be absolutely clear. Under the Liberty and Shield Group, Ostregal will remain a democracy. You will vote, you will debate, you will challenge us. The people will determine what is prioritized. You will tell us where to build first, where to focus, what to preserve. Our systems are not designed to rule you. They are built to serve you. But they must be systems, and they must be run well. To the critics who say we are foreign, I say this. So is your electricity, your medicine, your telecommunications. You want independence? Build the systems to sustain it. Until then, you borrow. And I would rather borrow with discipline than fail with pride. You do not have to love me. I do not ask you to. I do not need your applause. I need order. You need order. And under my administration, you will have it. You will wake up to power grids that stay online. You will walk streets patrolled by professionals. You will live in a country that no longer asks for permission to survive. Some will say that this is not freedom. To them, I say, starve with your freedom, if you like. To the rest of you, to those who have grown tired of surviving and are ready to live, I offer you a future with rules, with order, with hierarchy. You have had your revolution, you have had your purge, now you will have your country. The Liberty and Shield Group will not chant your name. We will not sing your anthem. We will not write your history in verse. What we will do is ensure that your children do not grow up in the rubble that you were born in, that they do not speak of their past with shame or of their future with dread. The storm you have witnessed today is quickly passing. Our machines are warming. The steel is arriving. Our contracts are signed and we will begin construction soon. And when you awake from the dream my fellow candidates are promising, you will not find parades or slogans or pageants. You will find concrete poured. You will find full pantries. You will find technicians installing turbines and surgeons finally receiving their pay. You will find the heartbeat of a country that no longer relies on hope to keep living. Let us help you.
Comrades of Osterregal, I stand before you, not as a candidate in a pageant of puppets, not as another cog in a broken machine, but as the voice of the silenced, the rallying cry of the worker, the farmer, the teacher, the nurse, the coal miner, and the factory hand, who built this nation with calloused hands and broken backs, and who were spat on by every regime that followed. The Red Manor may have fallen, but the lies it sheltered still echo in this square tonight. General Reznev was not a champion of the worker. He was a fraud draped in crimson, a tyrant who adorned himself in symbols of socialism while hoarding wealth, crushing unions, and erecting statues to himself rather than building homes for the people. His people's state was a gilded cage where the elite fattened themselves behind security fences and the people were fed slogans in place of bread. And the USSR before him. Let us speak truthfully. Soviet Russia was never the promised land of the worker. It was a bureaucracy that betrayed the revolution in its infancy. It replaced one czar with 1,000 clerks. It swapped the whip of the landlord for the cold, indifferent fist of the state. That was not communism. That was statism in red paint. That was the death of democratic socialism. That was betrayal. We, the People's Restoration Front, are not here to mimic that past. We are here to bury it. We do not want your votes so we can take power and enjoy its luxuries. We want your votes to dismantle power as it exists and to return it to you. Through worker-led councils, through democratic control of industry, through nationalized infrastructure that serves you, not shareholders in Geneva or oligarchs in suits. Let us speak plainly about the farce unfolding on this very stage. Anton Valeska of the Free Osterregal Accord calls for democracy, But what is democracy without dignity? His accord sings the praises of sovereignty, but it was their hand that invited foreign guns to our soil. Their success was won by leaning on American rifles, not by organizing among the people. He speaks of freedom, but tell me, will your electricity be free? Will your children's textbooks be free? Or will it be the same massed capitalism, where a different master sets the price? Valeska clings to the illusion that democracy alone can heal a nation gutted by inequality, but democracy without justice is just another tool of the elite. The Accord fears revolution because they know revolution does not stop at ballots. It marches through boardrooms, through mansions, and through ministries. Imam Jalouzi speaks of regional dignity, of restoring the South's voice, and to that I offer solidarity. But what is justice if it is only justice for some? You cannot speak of freedom while erecting new theocracies. You cannot speak of self-governance while tying your jurisprudence to texts that silence women and outlaw dissent. Faith has its place, in the soul, in the mosque, in the home, but when it becomes the cornerstone of the state, it becomes the shackle of the citizen. Jalouzi calls for autonomy, but autonomy that exists within inequality is just another name for fiefdom. And when the call to prayer becomes the call to power, the people suffer. And then there is Major Viktor Semenov. Let me be clear. If Reznev wore the mask of socialism to commit tyranny, then Semenov doesn't even bother with a mask. He arrives in our land like a vulture circling a dying body, except it was his own kind that brought the plague. He is not a liberator. He is a colonizer in camouflage. His entire platform is a boardroom pitch. Security, investment, efficiency. He calls it democracy, but it's a shareholders' meeting with ballots. You will be told you have a voice, but behind closed doors, he will sign away your ports, your factories, your railroads to foreign companies and private equity funds. You will be promised jobs, but only the ones his contractors don't want. You will be promised security, but only enough to guard his installations. You will be promised reconstruction, but the blueprints are already written in a language you don't speak, measured in profits you'll never see. He is a warlord with a brand consultant. His army wears uniforms but answers to shareholders. His plans wear flags but serve no people. He speaks our language only long enough to price the labor. And mark this, under Semenov, your sons will die guarding his supply chains. Your daughters will clean his offices. Your soil will grow exports you can't afford. Your laws will be rewritten in fine print. He will not lead you into a new era. He will lease you into one. Only the People's Restoration Front offers a future where the people of Ostrogal do not simply survive, but govern. We will seize and nationalize every major utility and industry, power, transit, water, mining. They are not commodities. They are lifelines. We will abolish the corrupt central banking system and replace it with democratic economic planning, where regional councils decide what gets built, grown, and distributed. We will dismantle the security apparatus left behind by Reznev and rebuild it as a people's defense militia, accountable to community councils. We will implement sweeping land reform, prioritizing cooperatives and family-run farms over absentee landlords and corporate agriculture. We will guarantee housing, healthcare, and education as unassailable human rights. We will establish a Truth and Justice Tribunal to expose the crimes of the Brezhnev regime and its collaborators, both military and corporate. We are not afraid to use the word revolution, because revolution is not chaos. Revolution is clarity. It is the moment when the people remember their power. We do not ask to be your rulers. We demand to be your representatives. We do not seek to manage capitalism. We seek to end it. We do not ask you to trust us. We ask you to trust yourself. Trust your memory of empty shelves and broken promises. Trust your instincts when you hear polished speeches and see foreign advisors whispering in dark corners. Trust your neighbors, because they are the ones who will rebuild this land with you, not the men in suits or uniforms. Brezhnev is dead, but his system lingers in privatized power grids, in foreign bank loans, in whispered deals between warlords and ministers. Burn it with unity, with organization. But hear me now, and hear me well. If this election is stolen, if this process is corrupted by Semenov's corporate mercenaries or Valeska's foreign partners, then we will not accept it. We will not stand idle. We will not be managed. We will rise, not just in numbers, but in force of will, in barricades and work stoppages, in mass mobilization and total rejection of false rule. We will surround every minister's home. We will occupy every office. We will shut this country down until power answers to the people. And to those who fear this fire, let me say, the people are not afraid to burn what has kept them cold. Vote for a republic that dares to believe its people are enough. Vote for councils, not cabinets. Vote for dignity, not dependency. Vote for bread that does not come with a leash. Vote for the People's Restoration Front, and rise with us. Long live the worker. Long live Ostregal. Long live the revolution.